Evelyn to Phil, October 29th, 1942, 7:30 p.m. My darling Phil, last night I went over to my mother's house and stayed there until almost 12. That pain in my leg had practically disappeared, and today it was completely gone. When I walked into the house at 12, I was embarrassed to distraction. In each corner of the living room sat a couple, 3 in all, and each couple was necking. I apologized, hung up my coat, and started upstairs. Jack N. stopped me and introduced me to everyone. First, Frances, his date, who is quite attractive, the girl I told you about. Jack N. is really attracted. He says she's swell. Next was Harry's girl, also very nice, sort of dirty blonde in a riding habit. Quite attractive too, and Harry has it bad. Phil, sweet, you wouldn't know Harry since he met Goldie. He's so different and reasonable. The other couple I had never met. Today it was positively lovely, sunny and warm, and it was unusual for me. Harry drove both the moms and me to 4th Street to shop. We took the Singers in town with us, and they stopped off to see the Liberty Bell and a movie in town. Harry and I sat patiently while they shopped. I bought 4 pieces of material for the bedspread for only 50 cents, which was really reasonable, and the designs are very striking. Mom and I received cards of approval from the Department of Allowances and Allotments, so I guess everything will be okay. There is one contingency which bothers me, and that is the fact that we will receive monies only from October 1st. Why in the world is that last week in September omitted? We would be entitled to at least $15 more. The card says to report any inquiries to the unit commander if done by the soldier. Find out if they pay only on a monthly basis, and if this is so, then we have no further complaints to make. My sister bought a service flag for me, or should I say for you. I received the enclosed letter from Milton. Return it, honey, so I'll be able to answer him. I saw my cousin Bessie while we were waiting and talking to her for about an hour. Her husband is in England, page 2, and is a technical sergeant. He's a draft engineer in civilian life, so, quote, I'll live in luxury, end quote, says B. He's connected with the Ordnance Department. She is sporting a lovely diamond wedding band and is just as common as ever. Gloria's mom and sister and nephew left early this evening. Your letter today was utterly sweet, but do you think it was wise to ask for a 5-day furlough to arrange for my confinement when it is so late in my pregnancy and the Red Cross has a record of my confinement plans, etc.? You are so sweet and thoughtful. It's a pleasure to be your wife, sweetheart. I have so much to say this evening, but I'm going to cut this letter short, as Jack N. is taking me to the movies. Harry is taking Goldie, and since Jack couldn't get Frances this evening, he urged me to say yes. Do you want me to send the money you need regardless? I'll write you a long letter tomorrow or this weekend and tell you everything. I adore you, Phil, for being the wonderful person you are and have been. I'll be with you at 9. Love from all. A reflection of you, Evie. Forgot to enclose Milt's letter. We'll do so tomorrow. E. Philip to Evelyn, Thursday, October 29th, 5 p.m. Evelyn, dearest, received 2 letters and a card this morning. Yours, Ruthie's, and the card from Milton Brown. Tell Ruthie for me that I was very glad to hear from her. It was a very sweet letter. She claims her report card wasn't all it should be and says she can do better. If she does as well with her schoolwork as she does in her letter writing, I know that she'll do better in the next report period. I'm sorry I don't have quite enough time to write her separately. Milton says he is working hard and eating and sleeping in proportion. Your letter was just as welcome and thrilled me just as thoroughly as all the others. We're still fooling around here. This morning we drilled 2 hours and listened to a talk about insurance and allotment for an hour. After lunch we saw training movies for an hour and played softball the remainder of the afternoon. Directly we were dismissed for the day, I went over to base headquarters to talk to the lieutenant about sending a copy of the insurance policy to Mr. Jocelyn. He promised to take care of it. I'm forwarding 2 forms to be filled out by 2 friends of Mom's and notarized. When this is done, send them and the photostatic copy of our marriage certificate to me, and I will turn them in for approval to base headquarters. There's no real hurry as we have 6 months to turn them in. The payments on the allotment will begin in November, I think. Page 2. 2. I expect to get paid about November 10th. Incidentally, baby, I have a few irons in the fire, the results of which, if they materialize, will surprise you no end. I won't tell you what they are because it's extremely unlikely that anything will develop. I only mention it because there is the bare possibility. Well, honey, another week approaches, and I've decided not to try to get home this week, but I'm still going to try for next weekend. Since the fellows are still feeding the kitty, I find I can afford to spend some money for a phone call home. I'll call exactly 8 p.m. Saturday, so make it a point to be near the phone, Chippy. Glad to hear everybody's taking the trouble to write. I'm all for this Right to Fill Club idea. So Harry's bringing Goldie Silver home to supper. What I wouldn't give you to be there. Tell him to make a date with her for next weekend. I'd like to meet her. Sorry to read that the newcomer is causing you more discomfort, sweet, but if it doesn't get any worse, I think we won't have any kick coming. Keep taking good care of yourself and the baby, Ev, and don't get careless. It's getting so close to the big moment that I'm starting to get the jitters. How are the scarves coming along? Keep me informed as to your progress. How are the Fromers feeling? And is your dad getting stronger? My love to you, dearest Evie, and remember me to everybody. More tomorrow, your adoring Phil.